Hey everybody, this is Kevin. Hope you're all doing well. Sorry about the delay in this lecture. It's been a busy week. Had some technical difficulties, but we're all up and running now. Um, so here's what I'd like to cover today. I would like to give you some feedback on some of the covers. I've just selected some covers that I think bring up some issues that everybody seems to be facing, and we can talk about all those. It'll give you a chance to also see what others are doing. So that will take up the majority of this. I'd also like to talk about your next assignment and some things to consider for that. And then before we do anything, I want to show you some printing and or exporting techniques. So imagine, if you will, that this is your InDesign document here, right? So I have a cover page, and then the rest of my portfolio will begin to take form after this. Now, some of you have printed your PDFs, some of you have exported, some of yours look perfectly fine, no issues, but I just want to make sure you guys are aware of this. So if you packaged everything, a PDF export will be with your package. And we covered packaging in a previous lecture. But let's just say you're working on this and you want to send me something real quick, or you want to just see what it looks like as a PDF. Like, let's say, for example, I want to export just this page, just this cover page. Okay, so I'm going to go File, Export. It's already set to PDF down here. In the desktop, I'm just going to save it to my desktop, and I'm just going to call it one. Here, let's do this. I'll call it test. I'm going to hit save. Now, right here under pages, I can select a range. I can say 1, 3, whatever, or I can just say 1 because I just want page 1. Okay, I'm going to hit export. Okay, and there we have a PDF of the cover page exactly to the size of the portfolio that I wanted. So in this case, it's a 8 by 10. So some of you were printing and it looked like you were printing a 8 by 8 or an 8 by 6 on a 11 by 8.5 by 11. You don't have to do it that way. You can just use export. In fact, you'll never have to sort of print directly from here. From InDesign, you can just use File, Export. That's your best bet to doing things. I just want to show you one more thing. Let's say you want to print these 2 pages, but you want to print them as a spread and not as single pages. Okay, so let me get something on there that would actually print. Let's just make a rectangle here and a rectangle here. And I'll just sort of, so these rectangles sort of represent a image that might go across both pages. So I can go up to File, Export, Test. I'll just save over this. I believe I closed it. I should check. No, I didn't. There we go. And I'll hit save. Yes. And I'm going to say 2 to 3 as a spread. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to hit export. And here it is as one spread. So my portfolio is a 8 by 10. So this is 20 by 8. So I'm seeing the whole spread, and I could export PDFs this way. It all depends on how you're going to get it printed, but we'll go through this later. But I just wanted to show you these 2 options. File export's your best friend for single pages or spreads. That's all I wanted to point out on that. The other thing I wanted to point out and make sure you're aware of is that you guys can contact me anytime and talk about your cover page one-on-one or the next assignments, whatever you want more feedback on. A few of you keep in constant contact with me, and we are really working through your portfolio and working through your resume and things like that, because I know most of you are in professional practice, and we're really getting into the nitty gritty on things and really making it shine. So in my humble opinion, it takes that sort of back and forth to make it really work. So please, I am at your disposal. If you want to talk to me, come talk to me. If you don't want to come talk to me, that's cool too. Okay, so here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to talk about some of your covers. So let me just show you what you guys have got going on. So I got about 9 of them, and we'll sort of talk through them, and I'll give you some feedback. So this is Laura's portfolio cover, potentially one of her covers. This is another one, and maybe this is another one. I'm not sure, but only reason why I say it because I had no text. But maybe I'll just talk about the first two. So this looks like a case where it wasn't actually printed on the right paper, or it wasn't exported to be the exact size, because I'm pretty sure this is probably the size you wanted, Laura, this like square here. Anyway, what I love about it is that beautiful drawing you have behind there. I think that is an awesome drawing, and it's your drawing. It's not a stock image or anything like that. I think that looks really nice back there. And there's something that reminds me of architecture school, right? Because it's like the little desks kind of where you guys obviously learned, but also where I learned. So there's something cool about that. I really like how that looks. I also like, I think I would maybe focus on like, where are you going to put that text? Is it all going to be down here, or is it all going to be in the middle? Kind of reading this, your name down here, and reading that. It's kind of like I'm turning my head both ways. I think maybe just kind of pick one or the other. The architecture portfolio, like that in the middle, I love the way it looks. I like the colors and everything really goes with the drawing. Feels a little big, the text. I think it kind of drowns out your image a little bit. So it'd be cool to, maybe you could combine all this information into one thing, either in the middle or down here, or something like that. But I really love that image. I think that's beautiful. I also like this one. This is a really simple kind of like iconic kind of icon-esque cover. I would say, like right here, you have this centered, and then everything else is sort of right aligned, but I'm assuming this is about the same size as what this one should be. So this circle is centered. It has such a strong center feel to it. You've got this line in the middle. You've got the circle. Architecture portfolio is centered, but then all this is right aligned. I would almost be like, make everything centered or not. That would be my feedback on that one. I really do like this one though. I could see, for example, this band sort of bleeding through the whole, across the whole cover, like right on the right edge, all the way around the booklet, like around the bind and on the back. I think that could work really well. Maybe these two don't overlap. Like maybe this circle just lives nicely above it. And I don't know, maybe you just get rid of this stuff and just put your name, get your name in here somewhere and call it a day. That would sort of be my feedback on that. The other thing I would say, yeah, I really do want to see this circle and this image, which almost could be like a floor plan or a section. I think this might be your cabin, but I'm not sure. But it would be so cool to see that kind of living on its own, like a perfect icon, and then your title below it and name. So that would be my thought on that. Love it. Another beautiful sketch that you had in this, again, I don't know if that was supposed to be for a cover or not, but would work just as well for a cover. I think this one has a more architecture school feel to it, though, of course. Cool. Well, great job, Laura. It looks really nice. Okay, so two here. Let me just zoom out a little. So we have Ryan's cover, which is really cool looking. So this looks like maybe an 8x10, maybe an 8x11. I'm not sure. Or maybe an 8.5x11, just landscape. I'm not sure. But one thing I do like is the use of these hexagons as sort of a design element in some way. So I really dig that you're kind of using that as a motif, and then perhaps, and I think you should do it this way, this sort of hexagon motif should carry its way through the remaining pages for sure. I mean, this is a strong move, and you don't want to just have that on the cover. So I should see hexagons in your resume and your table of contents on every intro page, at least to a project. Definitely on the intro pages, but maybe not on like the pages that show maybe just a spread of some project. Here's what I would suggest. Of course, I dig the hexagons, but I would think of, imagine on the cover you had a whole grid of hexagons, like a perfect net, right? And you highlighted part of the hexagons here and you erased all the lines to create a bigger space. Here's a smaller cell and here's an even smaller cell, but all these hexagons, big or small, sort of plug into this larger underlying net of hexagons. So then it doesn't look like these are just arbitrarily placed, because like these look like a near miss. Like I want this to touch, or I want to see how this lines up to another perfect hexagon, something like that. That might be something to play around with and give a whirl to. The other thing I would say is I kind of like how you've got a blend of hand sketches and renders on there. I also really like how you sort of crop the image in here to kind of fit that hexagon. Maybe this stroke on the outside of the hexagon just gets lighter. That's all I was kind of thinking. Really make the images shine versus the shape of the hexagon. But either way, this is great. Architecture profile, I think that's fine. It's your portfolio. However you want to word things, totally fine with me. Maybe it says portfolio. Maybe it says architectural design. Your call. I'm fine with this too. Just pointing it out. Yeah, I think this looks good, man. Nice work. Okay, next one is Lori's. This is a really nice, elegant cover here. So she has sort of this bluish text, has a nice little frame going around, and the frame is broken by this really cool image in the bottom, like hand sketched image. Everything sort of has a bluish quality, maybe to kind of reflect the kind of a pencil sketchy kind of quality like this sketch has. I think this is nice. I think Lori, I think your name could be even more bold. Just pop a little more than the rest of this. Um, there's something too about. I think if I am correct, I think this font up here is the same as this font, but this one is different. I don't know. Maybe I would try to make them all the same and see how that looks. It kind of stands out to me as like a little bit of a near miss, because I'm like, wait, something's different here, but I can't quite tell what. If this is the one that's to be different, then maybe this is in bold, something like that. I would maybe consider making these two the same font and just bolding your name. Then I would also consider maybe this line just gets a little lighter, reads a little heavy. That way, maybe it'll look more like a pencil sketch, kind of like what's in the sketches down here. Either way, really nice use of white space and just a really nice, elegant cover. Okay, Kelvin, love the cover. I love the minimalist quality. I love how this is directly in the center, right? And I got this line lining up with that. So you're really drawing my attention to the center, and you're not kind of breaking your own rule. You've said, okay, everything's going to be in the center. I'm going to do it that way. And then you've right aligned these and you left align these. So I think that's really cool. One thing I would consider maybe putting your name on the left and the portfolio on the right. I don't know. You could play around with that. The only thing I would change out of this would be, I love this image because of like the X and the intersection. I know we talked already about this, but this is a stock photo, but maybe I would try to get one of your own work in here. I think that would look ideal. But I love the kind of gray tone of this with the gray tone of this on there, and the image is gray tone. I think that's all working. And then this red really pops. I would maybe consider lightening this bold red stroke line a bit, because when my eye immediately just kind of goes to that frame, and it's sort of some of this other stuff sort of gets drowned out. But that's an easy fix. So elegant cover. I almost wonder if this red line happens up here too. But I don't know what. Maybe you could say 2020, 2021. Just a thought, throwing it out there. Looks really good, Cal. Hope your dad's doing well. Okay, this one is Mo. There, let me just zoom out a little bit so you see the whole thing. Cool cover. So God, if I've been here before, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, Mo. I think this is Northern Ireland, and this is like it's like Devil's Boardwalk or something like that. But I know this place. I definitely know this place. Really cool natural rock formation. Crazy how that happens like that. I really dig your minimalist text here and this idea of volume. And you're just calling it a portfolio because maybe you have other things in there like photography, and maybe this is one of your photography shots. I think it's totally cool. Only criticism I would say is I love this shot. Don't get me wrong, and it works awesome with this cover. Should it be an architectural? I mean, there's this rock formation is very architectural, but should it be your own work? Something to, I know this might be your own photography work, but I'm just thinking your own architectural work. Just depends on what you want to put forward. But I think this is really elegant and beautiful. So just trying to give you some feedback, but I really like how it looks. Oh, this is interesting. Fast Eddie Matoush. How you doing, buddy? Okay, let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. So this is a really cool cover. A couple things are really working well for it. It looks like a 8.5 by 11, so it really does feel like this trade journal, which I think maybe you were going for. It feels like there's something very serious in here, and I can't wait to learn about it, like an architectural academic journal. I love this little syntax over here, a little bit down here, a little bit up there. Also, you're giving sort of your portfolio a name, which I think is really cool. That's a cool way to do it. You know, you're just sort of summing up all of the projects you're going to put in here with one name, and there it is, Milieu. A couple things that are really working here. His image is awesome because it has this cool gradient background, right? And all these people are walking around as if they're standing almost like right on the cover. So it's as if this little project that you have here is sitting on some sort of infinite ground that really makes up the whole cover. So I think that works really well. I also love where your name and design portfolio is. I would say this, I would probably center. I would have these center aligned. They look like they're left aligned, but you wanted them to be centered under Milieu. So I would maybe center that, and then maybe this gets left aligned. And so it sits right up in that corner real nice, holds the corner. And this could be, you know, lines up exactly with Madison Area Technical College. So these two texts are in line. This looks fine where it is. So yeah, I also love the different color of this text from this text to this text. It doesn't feel too much to me. Here's one other option. Take out the black text over here and make it this color. Then you only have this orangey color and this blue color and then the white here, and that's it. Because right now you have 4. So that might be something to consider. But really cool. I'm excited to see where this portfolio goes. Okay, Bella. Okay, um, great cover. I think it's fine. One criticism, something to think about. Um, two things. Is this the text font you want to use throughout your entire portfolio? That might be something to consider because we're going to be putting our resume and table of contents and some other text and all that in here. So is that the one we want to use? The only reason why I say that, this is a serif font, so it has some sort of doodads and stuff on it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's cool, but sometimes these end up looking busy when there's a lot of it. So something to consider. Really dig the sketch. I would suggest dropping the colors here. I know, or maybe you lighten up this one, but dropping the black one. Because when I look at this portfolio, here's what happens. My eye goes to the upper left immediately. If you squint your eyes, this dark spot here is like a black hole, right? It sucks your eye in. I think what might be cooler is if, imagine this line drawn across the page is like a hand-drawn line like you have here. This line is like a hand-drawn line like you have here. I would maybe put your text, well, you could keep it in that tone, but maybe you lighten up this greenish teal a bit and then get rid of this because it's just too heavy. We really want your name and this image to shine the most, but right now they're like second and third. Totally dig where everything's at on here, placement and what type of images, but I would just think about what I said about the color. Very good. Okay, this is Nate Shirley, who goes by the stage name Arbella. Now, Nate, most of you don't know him, but Nate's an artist and he's taken some architecture classes. And so his work has a wide breadth. So there's, if I remember, Nate, maybe definitely some hand drawings, pencil, hand drawings, ink, and maybe some paintings even, and some other things. So there's much more in here than just architecture. And this is one of your ink drawings here, but a close-up of it. I really dig the 11 by 17 or similar format and the use of white space. And this is almost this beautiful graphic right in the middle, centered. I think it looks really elegant. So the use of white space here is great. So I can just see myself flipping through this and almost feel like a fine art portfolio where I see a nice sketch on a page, but I'm seeing a lot of white space to give it some breathing room around it so I can really appreciate one thing at a time. Okay, we don't want to pack too many things in. Otherwise, our eyes can't take it all in its like beauty. So Nate has some of these beautiful hand sketches, and if you had them all packed in on one page, that would be tragic. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this is going, but this is really cool. And it's very mysterious, right? Arbella, what's that about? Who is that? And it'd be nice to learn more. So good lesson in white space here. And also this, I would say the high contrast of this image compared with the background. Very nice. The artwork really pops. Okay, and last but not least, of course, is Sebastian. And Sebastian, this is great. I just got a couple things to sort of chew on. Okay, so let's see. First off, cool image. I mean, I don't know if this was a project that maybe you worked on with Bob, Jessica, I can't recall. And this is clearly a Lumion render, but one thing I would try to do is see if you can Photoshop out this watermark. Okay, this is Lumion has this watermark for the student version, and that's what we have at school. Every time I do Lumion, I make my renders purposely a little, what do you call it? Like as if I'm standing 20 feet further back than where I want to be, because I crop out all of the watermarks, and then it's pro, and no one could tell the difference. right? But right there, you're sort of screaming student version, and I can definitely help you and show you how best to do that. Love the image. I think the image is perfectly reasonable, and for this cover, couple things though. I would say it's a little packed. Okay, so it looks like we have maybe an 8.5 by 11 horizontal landscape sheet. And then you have another frame within there. And then you have all this text up here, all this text down there. I would consider, I don't mind the amount of text you have, but the size, I think it's just too big. This is too packed in here. Give yourself some breathing room. So it was almost perfect that I had Nate's before it to really show you all that white space. So I would try to loosen things up a little bit. Let me give you an idea of maybe how you could proceed. Let's say this is the full extent of your whole portfolio here. So 8.5 by 11. Get rid of the brown. Okay. You got a nice image here. Maybe that image lives like right like that, full bleed. It goes edge to edge. Okay, so just this nice, beautiful architectural image. Now, maybe that image wants to be black and white and sort of add a little mystery to it. Maybe black and white, and we turn the opacity way down so we're not getting everything. Like you want to have the reader be like, oh, what else is in here? I want to learn more. I want to see this image in its full glory or something like that. So that way you could use this image again later on, but you're not giving them the whole kit and caboodle. Okay, so again, that image maybe lives right in this zone. Then I would get rid of the brown, get rid of this black line up here, and maybe it just says architecture portfolio, half the font of what you have here. Something elegant, just nice and centered right on the page, just like you have it. Then down here, same thing. This is great. All this text is great, but I would just make it smaller. I would maybe get rid of those dots. Those dots sort of pull my eye in. One thing you could try to do is a vertical line, which is shift and the button just below backspace. That'll give you a break in between each, or just leave a space. I always say try a space first. When in doubt, white space, and then put something in if you think it needs it. But here's what I want you to remember. It was awesome that you got everything on here. Okay. All the pieces are here. Now let's just rearrange. It's so much harder when the pieces aren't there, buddy. So you did a really good job. Got everything on here. Got a nice content for the cover. Let's just try to simplify it a little bit and reduce its visual intensity. And then your image can really shine. Okay, and happy to talk with you further about that. So that's feedback for these 9 portfolios. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to come back and we'll talk about your next assignment. But if anybody wants to hit me up and chat further about this stuff, please do. I would love to work with you more one-on-one and really chew on some of these things. And you could send me something. I could say, try this, and we could kind of play together. So, all right, guys, I'll be back with the next video about your next assignment. All right, thank you.